You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblelicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us tonight. I want to remind you that if you've had portions of this show or seen portions or heard portions or smelled portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Do me a favor, follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. The crypto guru, Ronald Murphy, is back for another night of monster talk. We just got into a little bit of UFOs and aliens coming out right before the break, and now we'll get into some monsters, because the guru loves his monsters. You can find all of his books on Amazon under Ronald L. Murphy Jr. I think he should just change his name legally to the crypto guru, but that's just me. Who am I?
Awesome,
Who am I? Who am I? You know, I got a funny story, Ron. Funny story. I get home today from my daytime job. I pull into my driveway, and I'm looking at my garden. It is bare. Bare. I got no flowers left. The deer, while I was at work, came in and ate all my flowers today. All of them. Gone.
Wow.
Yep. My sunflower is now a sunstalk. My beautiful flowers. I don't even know what the hell they were called. They were purple and red and orange and black and everything. All gone. Yeah, all gone.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I
you know
know.
what? The only way to keep the deer out of there is by having garden gnomes. You're aware of that, correct?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, true story. Yeah. Well, you know, that's what makes the gardens grow, my friend. They're the caretakers of the living world. You've got to get them in there.
I'm going to get some. I've got a couple in studio. I got a couple in studio here, but I'm gonna go get some.
Yeah.
I got to go get some of them bigger gnomes there.
That's right. That's not their natural habitat. If you keep them in the studio, nothing's going to grow. You got to get them out their natural habitat. They will take care of that garden. They will shoot the deer away. Trust me on this.
Yes. Because I got to go shopping for flowers again, man. Because I like my garden. Right. I know this is something that a lot of people don't know about me, but I like a nice garden. I do.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Now, are you a flower garden guy, or you have vegetables as well too, right?
Oh, I can't grow vegetables worth anything. Next year, I'm going to try. Yeah. I got to build up a nice area in my backyard for vegetables. But
right.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, the way I get all my information about gardening is on Brian Bowden's Garden Talk.
Yes, the podcast Brian Bowden's Garden Talk. That's right. You're going to hear that name tonight. It is a garden. It is a garden variety of woo. That's for sure. The garden variety. Exactly.
That's right. Yeah, it's interesting how he keeps that all together. But yeah, it's awesome, and that's 15 minutes right before the stock report comes on. So then he has a podcast about that as well. Look, Brian is such a great guy, and I hope that our paths all cross at the same time, and we have this convergence. Because if we want to rock the paranormal world, that's the way to do it. And again, Scoreboard Restaurant or Scoreboard Bar up there in the Upper Peninsula, we're looking at you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely we are. We're going to make that happen. Happen. All right, let's get into the whole garden gnome thing, because it is summertime and, creatures abound. What kind of creatures like to come out and play and frolic come the summertime?
Well, this is excellent questions, because the 21st was just a few days ago, June 21st. Now, what is interesting about June 21st is if you would go back into the Middle Ages, that would be called midsummer, which is interesting because, gosh darn it, it's the first day of summer. That doesn't make any sense. But the reason why it was called midsummer is that is the middle of the growing season. So this was a very magical time. This was halfway in, halfway of starting the crop process, and you have another halfway to go before you can start your harvesting. So this was a magical time, and this is where fairies came out to play. Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. That's what this is about. So whenever we look at Celtic lore, and also lore from other parts of the world, we don't always have to deal with just the Western tradition. This also pertains to traditions in Asiatic cultures and Oceanic cultures as well. Solstices are magical times. So whenever you have the summer solstice, especially, that was an amazing time. But then you also have these little cross-quarter times that mark the between times of solstices. So you have the summer solstice, you have the winter solstice, and the other important time is going to be Samhain, or our present-day Halloween, October 31st. That was another important time. So all these times mark within the calendar the period whenever the veil between this world and the next was at its thinnest. And we are lucky, as I've said, because June 21st, the first day of summer, is one of these times whenever fairies are rumored to be unleashed onto the world. And not only fairies, but other magical beings. So, I mean, this is a magical time, my friend, a very magical time. Not only things are growing and things are coming to fruition and animals are being born and all this amazing things, but also after dark, this is whenever things that are otherworldly frolic in the glades as well.
All right. So what creature should we be looking out for?
Well, this is an interesting point. I have dealt with psychics on numerous occasions. I don't have any abilities, but I do like to work with people that are intuitive. And I've worked with one person that stated that on a particular midsummer, they encountered a satyr. You know, this was the Greek little forest god, you know, little legs of a goat, you know, horns, you know, one of these little humanoid figures. And she said that she had encountered a satyr sitting in a tree. So I think, again, we're talking about things that are very subjective to the person that is witnessing them. Some people see fairies. Some people see earthlights or orbs. And other people see full-figured apparitions, full-bodied apparitions. So whenever I said about things being kind of intertwined, you know, when we talk about orbs, you know, a lot of people say that's relegated to the ghost hunting world, but that's not necessarily the case. And also, the idea of Bigfoot being a fairy is something that you would find in European tradition in the form of the Woodwose, this green man, this liminal figure that was hair-covered, that existed on the margin between the civilized and the uncivilized. This was all part of the tradition of the midsummer time as well, the solstice time as well. So we, as a technologically advanced world, we have moved away from the agricultural society. We're no longer clinging to cycles of the moons or solstices. That stuff seems very antiquated now and seems, you know, rooted in superstitions. But, you know, to those people that relied on the land for sustenance, you know, this was life and this was death at the same time. The idea of the things that inhabit that world and occupy that world and seep over into our world every now and then was quite more prominent than what we recognize to this day. And that is sad. You know, we are, you know, electrical light and we are, you know, the internet. We've lost that part of us that really had that connection to the land itself. And I think because we lost that, we really lost connection to the kind of elemental creatures that exist in that world.
For people who don't know what elemental creatures are, can you break that down for us?
Yeah, you know, and this we're moving a little bit out of the Middle Ages on this, although a lot of this is rooted in the tradition of the Middle Ages, but it doesn't reach its definition until you work in the Renaissance with Paracelsus, who was a great alchemist and a philosopher and a mathematician and a mineralogist. He was really a fascinating man. And he said that all of nature is imbued with an intelligence that controls that particular, that particular element. So we talk about the element of fire or water or earth or air. They all have an inhabiting spirit. And it's kind of like, the heading for something that is the element of the earth is the gnome. You know, we talk about the garden gnomes. And we talk about the air, which is the sylph, the woods is the sylph, or the water is the nymph, or the mermaid. So all these creatures that we call Bigfoot or fairies or mermaids all had a place in this hierarchy during the time of alchemy, and these were all part of the elemental intelligence that control the world around us.
Interesting. Okay. So where are we running into these creatures? Is it in our yards? Is it in our gardens? Is it while we're out on nature walks through parks or forests? Where are these happenstances taking place?
It's everywhere. And I will tell you, sometimes they will reveal themselves to people that are more, more of a curmudgeon, non-believers. But there are, great, almost revelations when people go into the woods or into their backyard or into any kind of natural space with an open heart and an open mind, and kind of sit there trying to get in tune with the natural vibration of nature that we've forgotten, which is a shame. Everything in this world vibrates, even inanimate objects like stones, but everything has a vibration. And if you allow yourself, your vibration that you put out will tune with the other vibrations around you. And I think that that's what we are losing so much on. I think children are more prone to feeling that vibration and tuning into that vibration. And that's why their world is much more magical and filled with wondrous beings. But as we get older, we step away from the vibrations, we step away from that synchronicity, and we make our own vibrations, which is very destructive of the natural world. But I think in order to really see these kind of creatures, you have to open yourself up. You have to allow your vibration to synchronize with the natural vibration of the world around us, that ebb and flow, that heartbeat of creation. And once we do that, then everything around us becomes alive. I truly, truly believe that. I wrote a book entitled On Fairies about 2 years ago. I go into great detail in that book about my feelings concerning vibrational influences. And I think that is what we're losing in this modern world. Electronics takes away from our natural vibrations, and we're always inside, and we don't allow ourselves to return to the world in which we were made for.
Okay, so when you get into vibrations, that means, or does that mean that we're also looking at things like portals, dimensions, and some sort of...
Absolutely.
It does,
Yep.
okay. So how do we combine the two?
Yep, you've hit the nail on the proverbial head there. So when we talk about vibrations, and this was, this is the time of Theosophy. This is the time of the late Victorian period. And Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, was the one that said that fairies do not have wings. What we see of them that appear to be wings is this vibrational energy that they're putting out. So the idea that the earth itself is filled with vibrations and energies is where we get the ideas of ley lines. Because on ley lines, there are natural spaces, usually sacred spaces, that have this outpouring of energy. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean a portal or an interdimensional doorway, but I do truly believe that in some cases it does. And I think whenever you look at the world around us, and I did in my book on fairies, I have a whole section on this. And, if we get together and ever do a conference together, this is one of my favorite topics to cover. You see these same circular designs around the world. And I don't care if you're in Russia or if you're in Asia or if you're in Africa or even the United States. The same circular symbol appears time and time again. You can find it on Newgrange in Ireland. You can find it in the medicine wheel in the American Plains. You can find it in the iconography of the Aboriginal Australians. This swirling pattern. It seems that this is the human conception of what a portal looks like. If you look at the ancient Near East, if you look at a lot of the Sumerian cultures, the Babylonian cultures, these Mesopotamian cultures, you can see this really brought to a height by showing these kind of swirling patterns, sometimes with figures either entering them or exiting them. And that's just not confined to that particular area. This is some of the most ancient depictions. But if you go into places like Chaco Canyon in the American Southwest, you can see these same images that appeared in Mesopotamian cultures, these same images with figures that are entering them or exiting them. I truly believe that mankind has left us hints of the idea of portals throughout the land. I think to places like Stonehenge, where were places where people tried to physically demark that this is where something very amazing happened. And again, even with Stonehenge, you see this swirling pattern. And then it's kind of picked up when we talk about crop circles, this idea of the swirl, almost like a whirlpool type of effect. And I truly believe, Dave, in all the research that I've done and all the different studies that I've done in various cultures, I think that what is going on is that the ancients were trying to tell us that the world was indeed alive, the earth has a natural energy to it, and occasionally there are places on this globe where the energy is so concentrated that there's doorways that open up, portals for lack of a better word, and we can exchange information or what have you, even exchange, entities through these particular times and places.
Okay, so do you believe then, even though scientifically this is totally unproven, that there are some sort of portals that are allowing these creatures in? And if so, where do you have your proof on that? Because that's a lot of woo, Ron.
That's a lot of woo, my friend. That's a lot of woo. But I will tell you this, okay? I have studied a lot of other people's conjectures. And some people out there, this is a very interesting story. I'll tell you briefly. But I interviewed with somebody that was attempting to make their own Tesla coil in their house. It would take somebody that's a near genius to do such a thing anyways, but it produces a lot of power. And they claim that they were able to create a working Tesla coil. They fired it up. It was operational for a few moments. And then whenever the power went off, they heard footsteps up in the room where the coil was. And they speculated that the power produced from that particular coil opened up a dimension. It was almost like a key to open up a doorway to another world. What's curious about this is the next day, some people who claimed that they were government officials showed up and took the Tesla coil away from them, which is, fascinating. But that's one of the many stories that I've heard. I've dealt with plenty of researchers that have used things like EMF meters during Bigfoot investigations. And right before some strange things happened, we have energy spikes. It seems as if there is this need for these things to manifest, not only the ghostly world, but also these creatures that we think are flesh and blood. They need some sort of natural energy around them in order to manifest. So people talk about whenever they're out looking for Bigfoot and their batteries drain. Same thing as whenever they're looking for ghosts or UFOs. There's these similarities that something in the environment is draining a power source in order to gain some sort of bodily form. And this happens time and time again. It's happened to me many times whenever I go out into the field with a completely charged battery. Within minutes, it's done. And I've seen this happen in a lot of different investigations. So that's one of the ways that I think there's proof going on. And the other way that I think there's proof is that places that are reported to have a lot of earth energies are also sacred spaces as well. These are the places where the ancients would have put up pagan tombs or monuments. And not only that, but whenever the Catholic Church made itself known, they would put up chapels or churches up on top of these places as well. This is to signify that these areas had great power. That's my take on it. It might seem a little romantic, it might seem a little poetic, but it seems that the ancient world was so in tune with the land that they knew where these pockets of energies were produced. And I do feel strongly that with these pockets of naturally occurring energies, also very strange sightings of creatures occurred as well. Look at Loch Ness. Loch Ness has been one of these places where there is a lot of sacred sites in the area. And not only do we have, monster sightings up there, but we also have a copious amounts of UFO sightings and also sightings of something called the Gray Man, which is the Highland equivalent to the Bigfoot creature. So in that area, I mean, I could use that as anecdotal evidence that in this area that is supposed to be rife with earth energies and ley lines, we can see all this paranormal activity taking place, not to mention the idea of fairy lore in those areas as well.
That's a plethora of creatures that are coming through, man.
It's
insane. It's insane.
Yeah,
so with that, okay, let me ask you, are they all coming from the same area, the same dimension in your mind, or are they all coming from different dimensions? Because this is heavy woo right now.
It's very heavy woo. No, I think that what you do, and I think a lot of times it takes a certain person to be the activation mechanism for some of these things as well too. That it takes a person to interact with this power to open up doors as well, or windows. But I think that what we're talking about is very unique doorways opening up from time to time and letting very individualized dimensions through. I really think so. I don't think there's one holding space that has things like Dogman and Loch Ness Monster and UFOs and Bigfoot in it. I think that it's very, very different dimensions that interplay with each other, interplay with our world, and on certain occasions, either the right person is there to trigger a response, or there's some sort of right, climactic convergence, whether it's an electrical storm or something going on, or an earthquake, that can trigger an energy outburst that will allow these areas to fire up and open up doors. I really think that's one of the reasons why we don't have bodies. I think this is one of the ideas why whenever people talk about, and I've seen this myself, trackways beginning and ending without sources or conclusions kind of just appearing, that we're talking about something that is stepping into and out of portals. And in the same way with the idea of fairies, people from the Middle Ages onward are talking about these things coming out of the hillside, of doorways opening on a hillside, and these entities, these creatures kind of come into our world. I think that is the way that pre-scientific minds explained portals. And I think I saw it myself one time. I was investigating a dog.
Well, save that story. Save that story about the portal that you saw coming out of the break here. The crypto guru, Ronald Murphy, continues. Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefoot?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate you taking the time. And we want to say hello to everyone listening in on our digital affiliates across North America and on TalkStream Live at Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What is this? Erythrophobia. Erythrophobia is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with the crypto guru, Ronald Murphy. We're talking monsters all night long. You can find all of his books on Amazon or in any major bookstore. Ronald L. Murphy Jr. is his name. You want to check it on out. He is one of the best, and we love having him here. Guru, welcome back.
Hey, I love being here too, Dave. I look for this every time. We used to do this once a month, and then, of course, life happened. And because I'm on the East Coast, and this is, so late for me, we had to kind of work around my schedule. But I'm enjoying my summertime because I don't work in the summertime, and I get to do this with you during the week. So this is great.
Absolutely. We love having you here, my friend. Now, right before the break, you were saying that you got a plethora of weirdness happening, man, where you thought that you were seeing a portal.
Yeah. See, okay. So I do a lot of my research in the Chestnut Ridge area of Western Pennsylvania. This is a place that is storied with all kinds of hauntings and different types of sightings. I mean, people still witnessed Thunderbirds in this area, which really, like the last time we were on, Dave, we talked about this, and that makes no logical sense. There's a bird this big still flying around, yet people are still seeing them. Now, I was in a particular area where there were a lot of dogman sightings, werewolf sightings. So I went down to an attempt to investigate such an occurrence. Now, I was out there with a researcher friend of mine, so there was just two of us, and all of a sudden, and this was probably about 12:30 at night, the sky appears as if it's getting static electricity, almost like whenever you take a blanket and pull it off of your bed, that kind of static electricity. And it wasn't high in the sky. It wasn't like this was heat lightning or some sort of environmental discharge of any kind. It seemed as if we had a ladder. It might be well within reach, maybe 11 or 12 feet above our heads. But there was this tremendous amount of sparks flying. So we had no idea what was going on. So we decided to turn and get out of there. So as we turned, and I have to note that there's only one way in and one way out to this particular area, and that is the same way. So we turned to get out the same way that we came in, and where the path would be, of course, it was obscured by the darkness, so you couldn't see it, but about 8 feet high, a light sparkles on. There's really no words to describe it other than that. It looked as if somebody lit a flare. It was a very, very bright, intense white light that had this kind of trickle effect of sparks. It looked like if somebody lit a flare, held it for maybe a mere second, maybe 2 seconds, and then it just faded off. Never seen anything like that before in my life. I had no idea what was going on. This whole event maybe lasted for 4 seconds, start to finish, with this extreme brightness that lasted maybe for a second or two. So, again, we were caught between a rock and a hard place. There was no place else to go. In order to get back home, we had to go the way that this flare was. So we started to approach that particular area. Now, when we get to the area where that flare seemed to fire up, on the right-hand side, there's a something starts following us in the woods. It starts shadowing us, if you will. Now, on the left-hand side, there is a cemetery that glowers over on a hill that overlooks this particular area. From that area off to my left, my name was called. Now, what's interesting about this, because this was in pitch black, if my name was not called from that side, I would not have paid attention that that is where the trail broke off to lead us back to where we were parked. If nothing called my name, I would continue to walk straight, and whatever that was following us now began to snarl at us. So whatever happened, whatever kind of intersection happened to us that day or interjection happened to us, we were able to find the trail to lead us back. And I am convinced that if we continued on the trail on which we were on, that something very bad would have happened to us, because whatever was in that woods, we felt as if it were a predator stalking us. And I think that what we saw with that light was a portal opening and something stepping out.
How close to you was this?
We are talking probably no more than 25 yards. What is interesting is this was all captured on film. I had a little Super 8 a camera running. Now, for you folks up in Canada, if you ever get a chance to watch Red Earth Uncovered, I was lucky enough to do this season, and I already filmed for next season. And they actually have the camera, and I'm hoping they're going to utilize the footage for next season. So that's Red Earth Uncovered, hosted by Shayla Stonechild, and it's on the APTN network, I guess is what it's called up there. But I would gladly share that video with you folks, but I do not have it in my possession right now. But hopefully you'll be able to see that. And if it doesn't air, I would be more than happy to share it with you, Dave, and you can throw it up on your website. But yeah, absolutely. I have no idea what happened. I can't describe it. When we first saw it, we assumed that it was a person. But when we got to the place, we found out that there was nobody there. The emanation of this light was far too high for it to be a person. But it had a lot of classic similarities to what are called orbs or called earth lights. And then we have what, could be a third-class cryptid encounter with whatever it was stalking us and making guttural vocalizations at us as we made our way out of there.
Oh, there's nothing creepy about that. Nothing creepy about that.
No, and again, like I said, this was in the fall. The leaves were dying off the trees, and there should be no bugs out. I mean, you could see your breath. The temperature was probably in the high 30s. But on that camera that we had, there were light anomalies buzzing in and out constantly buzzing in and out. And I think that is just a really strange place where a lot of things happen. And a lot of people get evidence just because of the energy that's put out in that place. Now, about 2 years ago, I was working. I did a lot of work in preschool education, designing curriculum and such. But I was working at a preschool, and the administrator asked if they knew what I did, and they asked if I would take some people on a ghost hunt to this exact same area. And I said, I was a little apprehensive about doing it. I didn't want to be out in the woods with a lot of middle-aged people. But this one young girl who was probably about 22 years old, she said, "Hey, Mr. Murphy, are you going to take us out on a ghost hunt?" And I said, Yes, I am. So we go out on this ghost hunt, and we all experienced something incredible. There were light anomalies that we could not see visually. But through the camera lens, you could see it, going horizontal, vertical, changing directions. And then it started to seem to investigate the women that were in the group. We could look through the viewfinder and see this light anomaly moving in and out in between the ladies. And at one point, it came to rest for several moments over one lady's face, which was really off-putting and disconcerting. So we decided it was time to get out of there. It was already getting late. It was about 11 o'clock at night. And then these very, very strong points of light, almost like LED points in blues and reds, I still remember it vividly, start bouncing back and forth across the trail. And then there's a sound that starts emanating, which sounds a little bit like a chant, and a little bit like a song. Again, I cannot explain to you what happened. I have no clue what happened, but I know that when we got back to the car, one of the women that we were with had a scratch down her back, the classic three scratch pattern. And what was interesting as well is that I was missing the scarf that I was wearing. I no longer had the scarf with me. And I very rarely wear scarves. I actually bought it for this special occasion because I wanted to impress this chick. But whatever happened, not only was somebody scratched, but my scarf was taken from around my neck.
Where'd your scarf go?
Well, I have no idea. That's the whole point. You know, I felt a little bit of tug whenever we were running to get out of that area, but I don't really know exactly what happened. But this is the clincher. I get home to my house. I unlock the door. It's probably about 1 o'clock in the morning by this time, and I jump back because what had happened was I opened up the door, and all of my burners are on my stove. They're all going, all 4 burners. Now, I have 5 children. They all went to their grandparents' house so I could do this investigation. And is it possible that one of them or 2 of them maybe turned on a couple burners? Sure. Doesn't seem very plausible, but, you know, all 4 burners were on. So I was a little spooked by this point, that I decided, you know, I was going to go, I was going to watch a little TV, take my mind off of it. So as I take off my coat to put it up on the rack, there on the rack is my scarf hanging up. True story, Dave. I cannot explain it to you what happened. It doesn't make any logical sense. It seemed to suggest that whatever was out there knew who I was and knew where I lived. I didn't feel threatened, but I felt that this was almost a warning not to take this stuff lightly. True story, Dave. I would write this out in an affidavit. It doesn't seem logical in any means. It doesn't seem logical to me, and it happened to me. I am just telling you that this is exactly what had happened to me about 2 years ago. It has no rational explanation in the world of physics, but it did indeed happen to yours truly, and I'm still trying to find the answers to what happened.
Do you think that there was some sort of paranormal anomaly around you, or maybe there was an attachment or something that was messing with you?
Yeah, I think that's what comes back to the idea of attachments. Absolutely. I think that these things that we're dealing with, not in every single case, but I think when we talk about elementals, we are talking necessarily about an intelligence, and an intelligence that kind of transcends space and time. These are not intelligences that have an obvious body to them. They seem to be made out of some sort of electricity, and they seem to kind of come and go out of our world as they please. And that seems what happened in this particular area. Now, not only has this happened to me, but I've interviewed people that have been down there before and used a Ouija board, and they go back home and they're laying in bed and they hear a sound, and on their dresser, on the top of their dresser, all their makeup and perfume and mousse and everything like that just explodes at one time. I've heard this on many occasions from people that go down there. I think what happens in this particular area, it's a very unique area. It's been a hotbed for UFO sightings and Bigfoot sightings. And now as things are progressing a little bit more, there's more Dogman sightings in this area as well, too. but I think this is a very unique area that has a lot of strong paranormal energies, and a lot of these energies are intelligences, and not only are they intelligence, but they can interact with the world in which we live in, to the point that they knew where I lived and could actually even send me a message. I still get goosebumps whenever I talk about it. Again, there's no obvious explanation for what's going on. If you look at Occam's razor, you could try to look at the most simple explanation, and the only explanation that I can give that makes the simplest solution to me is that a ghost or some sort of intelligence removed my scarf and returned it to my home in some way that transcend the physical laws that we know.
I don't even know where to go with that, Guru.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Not only, like I said, not only was this sighting at an area where whatever it was following us in the woods, call it a dogman, call it a werewolf, what have you. This is the same area where this also happened. So this is a prime spot for things to happen. I'm very blessed to know that I live so very close to this place. I've taken Bowden there on occasions before, and we have had some very unique things happen to us there. I think it's a perfect storm for whatever is going on there. There are tales of witchcraft going on there back in the 1700s. So this place is steeped in mystery and steeped in legend and steeped in lore. But obviously this is a hot spot, and I do firmly believe, to the best of my ability, I can say that this is a spot where what we would call a portal from time to time opens up.
The crypto guru, Ronald Murphy, is with us tonight. Ron, out of that area, there has been, over the years, sightings of Thunderbirds.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Absolutely. This is very area.
Yeah. This is one cryptid, my friend, I don't believe in. I believe in a lot of them. Okay, I believe Dogman is out there. I believe Bigfoot is out there. I believe fairies are out there, gnomes, okay? Because not only is it fun, but, from a couple of the things that I've seen, it makes me believe. But a Thunderbird, which is a 40-foot bird, which would be on any type of radar, okay? I'm not buying it that it's out there, man, because it's pretty hard to hide a 40-foot bird from anything.
Right. And the other thing that, like, when we were on this show last time, we talked about the logistics of this. These birds have to reproduce. These birds have to go to the bathroom. Birds molt, and they would lose feathers. Nobody's finding eggshell fragments the size of a Volkswagen. Nobody is finding 13-foot long feathers anyplace. These things are not showing up on radar. They're not pooping on Priuses to the point that their windshields are cracking out. None of this stuff is happening. But, Dave, on the other side of the coin is I've interviewed a lot of very sane people who say that they've seen Thunderbirds in this area, and I have to believe them as well, too. I think 80 or 90% are misidentified with either some sort of blue heron or some sort of buzzard or vulture. But there's that elusive 10%, 50% that I simply cannot explain. And the only thing that I'm left with at the end of the day is these people encountered a Thunderbird. But these are not flesh and blood animals. They couldn't be flesh and blood animals. So what's the explanation? The explanation is from time to time, they can seep into our world from another dimension, another portal, whatever the case may be, whatever the mechanism that's happening is occurring. It seems that people are seeing Thunderbirds because they're slipping into our time and they're not full-time residents of this dimension.
Well, that makes it another interesting question. Is it the bird that's slipping in and out of time, or is it the people who are witnessing this?
Yeah, see, these are great philosophical questions, and I'm going to have to say both, because sometimes the sightings of the bird is in context with the world around them. But other times, it is as if the person that's witnessing this has been transformed back into another time. And we do know that these birds that we call Thunderbirds did exist from the fossil record. Unfortunately, they became extinct about 3 million years ago during the Pleistocene era. So, they were extinct for, about 3 million years before humans landed on the scene. But we know that this creature called the Argentavis magnificens existed. And it fits the Thunderbird description to a T. Same dimensions, same wingspan, all this stuff. And also the people that witness these Thunderbird accounts almost invariably point out that it has a very unique tail spread, almost like a miniature type of turkey spread. And this tail spread was indicative of the Argentavis magnificens. And I find it hard to believe that every single person I talk to that witnessed these things are taking ornithology courses to put over a hoax on how to fool somebody that are researching this. I think people are seeing this. I think that it's a very, very cool phenomenon, but I do not think these things are flesh and blood, at least not in this dimension.
I could just imagine what Thunderbird poop looks like, man. I would hate to be underneath that. I mean, that's like getting hit with that's like getting hit with about 5 buckets of white paint at the same time.
Well, see, yeah, that's a good point. So if we look at this from a biological point of view, we'd have to think that a creature this size certainly would not be able to be a predator, because they're not going to be a creature that's able to flap their wings. This is a soaring animal. So this is something that would have to be, opportunist. It would have to eat carrion. It would have to be, one of these kind of things that eat the refuse of things, a scavenger. But what is interesting is if you look at the Native American First Nation traditions of the Thunderbird, these were things that make biological sense. They called them Thunderbirds because they were able to ride the air fronts that preceded thunderstorms. And Dave, we know from the archaeological record that the Argentavis magnificens had to rely on this kind of air pressure in order to stay buoyant in the air. So I truly think that the Native Americans at least had folk memories of the Argentavis magnificens, if not first-person eyewitness accounts of these things, of a remnant population that existed up into maybe 100,000 years ago in certain parts of the world, maybe up to 35,000 years ago in North America.
Guru, hold on right there, because we're going to cut out here. More monster talk with the Crypto Guru and a plethora of other creatures to go through on Spaced Out Radio next.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. For more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month, and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate you taking the time. I want to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. On Twitter, we're at Spaced Out Radio, and on Instagram, at Spaced Out Radio Show. The crypto guru is here, Ronald Murphy. Yes, if you haven't read any of his books, you are missing out because he's one of the best writers out there. He's a great friend of this show. Find all of his books on Amazon or at any major bookstore in the United States. We're always glad to have the Guru here. Now, Guru, I want to kick off this hour with a question from Cat Chaser in our YouTube chat, who is asking, have you noticed more and more correlation between Sasquatch and UFOs?
Yep. Well, there's been a lot, especially in Western Pennsylvania. I'm lucky because I grew up in an area where since the 1970s, there's always been a correlation between UFOs and Bigfoot. Sometimes they were seen walking in farmers' fields at the same time of a UFO landing or a UFO taking off. Sometimes they're seen even holding on to glowing orbs at times. And remember, these Bigfoot here in Western Pennsylvania are also unique because they're often seen with glowing red eyes. So it doesn't seem like they're quite corporeal. It seems like they're straddling two different lines already. They can appear and disappear. Sometimes they can bilocate, appear two different places at one time. But yeah, it seems as if, at least in Western Pennsylvania, since the 1970s, this idea of Bigfoot being attached or at least inculcated in the UFO phenomena is something that has been at least tenuously alluded to here in my neck of the woods.
All right. So with that, do you think that Sasquatch is being taken or dropped off?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Or studied. That's the other thing, too. It doesn't have to necessarily be an occupant, or it doesn't necessarily have to have its origin from another dimension or another planet. It might be something that is simply being studied by another culture as well. Very interesting things. But the idea of people seeing this thing entering and exiting crafts, that's what makes it very interesting to think that this might be a creature that has its origins in another time, another place.
Interesting. Okay. So do you believe then that there is some study by aliens and UFOs on Sasquatch, or do you believe Sasquatch is an alien itself?
Yeah. Well, I think if there are indeed aliens that come from another intelligent planet, that they would be studying all life forms on this planet. And if Bigfoot does indeed exist, that would be something definitely to study, because it's almost like a way of studying two different evolutions that diverged. The human one that led to, massive amounts of technology, to the one that this Bigfoot branch would go off to, that leads ends in an evolutionary dead end. So I think that if there are aliens and there are Bigfoot, they would definitely be studying these things if they were visiting this planet.
By the way, from the Scoreboard Bar in Michigan, who's listening to this show, they have officially created a Ronald Murphy drink. Brittany, the server there.
Brittany's awesome.
She's calling it the RM, Rum and Madras.
Oh my goodness, this sounds so good.
So apparently there is a plethora of Ronald Murphys going around Scoreboard Bar right now in Michigan.
Well, I'll tell you what, I hope somebody can actually take a picture of this happening and load it up, because I would love to throw this onto my Facebook page and my website as well too.
Oh yes, yeah. We need a picture of that Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob. Yeah, and Corrins is holding out on us here. Corrins, my booking guy, just got back from holidays here, and he's saying he was talking to a guy in Gunnison, Colorado, wearing an alien shirt, who is a fan of this show. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
Wow, it sure is. Yeah, well,
we are number one in the night in Gunnison, Colorado, wherever that is.
You know what? If I'm not mistaken, I mean, look, Colorado is one of these places that have a lot of hauntings and cryptids as well too. But that's a place where I would love to get to. I've only been to Colorado one time. It's a very rugged place, but hey, you know, get us into Colorado as well too. We'll make it known there. But it was interesting because I was working in a school. And, of course, you know, working around children and working with families, it's one of those things where you really don't make it known what you do. You know, it's kind of like one of those, you know, secrets that you have to keep.
Yes.
But this is an actual true story. One of the teachers came out to me and she said, are you Ron Murphy? And I said, yes. And she goes, I recognize your voice because I heard you on Spaced Out Radio. I am not lying to you. This is absolutely honest to goodness true. But yes, I think that we are owning the night here.
There you go. We love it. Gary the Spudger is asking, hey, Guru, have you ever heard of any encounters of Bigfoot and Dogman living or working together?
Oh, nice. Well, this is the problem with this, okay? And this is dealing completely within the realms of science and biology. We are dealing with two apex predators here, Bigfoot and Dogman. And from what science would teach us is these two things could not occupy the same territory. But that being said, that does not mean that there's not some sort of confrontation between these creatures. It would be something to witness. There are many Native American reports of territorial warfare between Bigfoot creatures and humans, but I've never heard of one involving a Dogman, unfortunately. I think that the Dogman has been out there. Actually, in my book that I wrote on Dogman, this is a phenomenon that is as old and as ancient as the Bigfoot or the wild man phenomenon. It's just not been so popularized. And I think a lot of times whenever people are witnessing Bigfoot sightings, they're actually seeing Dogman and vice versa. So I think one of the reasons why the Dogman has been kind of swept under the rug is that people are mistaking this for something else, or the tried and true Bigfoot researchers were throwing out the reports because it had some sort of canid type of correlation with it, so they don't think that could matter. But I think the idea that there is a bipedal or, you know, a quadrupedal intelligent wolf-like, dog-like creature out there makes sense to me from a lot of different perspectives. The research that I've put into my book was very, very exhaustive, and you can find out First Nation accounts of Dogman creatures. Look, we talked earlier about the idea of portals in certain areas. In the Ohio River Valley, there is a Native American culture that was so affiliated with the wolf, sometimes they would even bury their dead with a wolf skull over the human skull. Kind of suggests there's some sort of metamorphosis or transformation that occurs. But look, this is all great little intriguing type of anecdotes. And we could point out the things that were happening over in France during the mid-1700s with the beast of Gévaudan that looked remarkably like some sort of prehistoric dire wolf doing some horrendous and heinous killings in the French countryside. You can look at sightings around the Skinwalker Ranch of what appears to be some sort of intelligent canid that doesn't match any descriptions known to science. So, look, the Dogman has been out there. It's just not been as publicized as the Bigfoot creature.
Interesting. Why? Okay, well, this leads to Stardust Man's question, and he is asking in our chat room, do you think there is a correlation between blurred photos and Sasquatch's ability to shift or change its unique look?
Yes, and such a good question as well, too. Okay, so we talked about vibrations earlier and the idea of frequencies earlier. I think that this is a perfect explanation on why this is happening. I think that we're talking about a creature that relies on this kind of natural rhythmic vibration of the earth to, if not come in and out of portals, at least for camouflage, for some sort of acoustic effect, like, some sort of biolocation or some sort of infrasound, something along those lines. But I think this creature is so in tune with the natural environment that if it is not from another dimension, it at least is so intrinsically tied to the natural environment that it seems that it's almost unidentifiable away from that environment, if that makes any sense. That it's on such a vibrational frequency with the world around it that it's hard to separate where one begins and the other ends. And that's why I think that when we look at cultures like the ones in Europe, when we look at the Woodwose or the Green Man, sometimes you see the figure that is covered in hair, but is so intertwined with the natural world that it actually even has leaves growing out of it. So I think that this is something that ancient man, or that mankind has struggled with for a long time, and they kind of have a hybridization of what's going on. But yeah, the idea of Bigfoot appearing as blob squatches or blurry or able to appear or disappear at will, I think that we are definitely getting to the idea of vibrational frequencies and how the human eye perceives this.
All right. Do you think that maybe, just maybe, Sasquatch has some sort of ability to detect any type of technology?
Mm-hmm.
And
well,
that way
again,
causes the blurriness.
Yeah, if this is a flesh and blood creature, I think they would be so adapted to the natural world that if you introduced anything into it, such as a game cam or a trail cam, that it would be able to identify it. But bears can do such these things. Even crows can be so adapted to their world that they can easily pinpoint whenever there's a trail cam put in there. So if this is a flesh and blood animal, it might just be that its senses are so unique that they stay away from the area where this thing is, putting out some sort of buzz or putting out some sort of electrical field. But I think whenever we deal with these creatures, and if my speculation is true, that we're dealing with something of an elemental idea, then the energy that these things are putting out, and necessarily they have to put out because they're taking pictures and they're being powered by a battery, so it has to put out some sort of signature into the field, into the world around it, that this could somehow interplay with the energy fields of these other elementals, and that's why we never have a clear picture. It's almost like a natural cloaking mechanism to hide themselves. And I don't think it's intentional. I just think it's the way that the technology works, that these fields are interfering with each other, and that's the reason we do not have a clear photo.
All right, let's get to Greco's question. Do you believe that Bigfoot knows how to use alien technology?
Oh,
we're
right.
we're turning up a plethora of woo here, my friend.
Woo! That's right. Well, there have been reports of people being on craft and seeing a Bigfoot-like creature on the craft with them. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're operating the vehicle. Boy, that's a tough one. I would think that because the Bigfoot is almost always seen as a hair-covered creature, wearing no clothes and seemingly having no conquering the environment whatsoever, I think that we're dealing with something that is not technologically advanced and uncivilized. So I don't know. Like I said, they have been seen on UFOs by experiencers. They've been seen leaving UFOs, and they've been seen getting on board UFOs. But as far as using the technology, besides those anecdotal things that occurred back in the 1970s in Fayette County, Pennsylvania, like holding the orbs, there's really not much more to come and go on.
That one I'm not sure about, man. That one I'm totally not sure about. I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing if the creature is alien and being dropped off, but to think it's some form of Chewbacca relative where it can fly, any type of craft it wants. That one I'm not sure about.
That's right. And then what do you do about these eyewitnesses that have seen these orbs? Because I'm not talking about like one or two instances. I'm talking about like maybe, several dozen instances of people seeing these creatures carrying an orb. So we're saying, is that a homing device? Is that some sort of beacon for, UFOs to pick them up? Or are these the keys that open certain portals? I do not know. But a lot of people have seen these creatures holding an orb and being in fields and seen in fields where, crop circles appear or, landing circles appear. Something very strange is going on. And whatever we call a UFO, whether it's extraterrestrial or ultra-terrestrial or interterrestrial, what have you, there are people that are seeing this in conjunction with UFO sightings or with Bigfoot sightings, and we have to take that into consideration. I have no idea what's going on right now.
Guru, I have a question from one of our listeners way, 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 way east across the Atlantic in South Africa, who is asking,
nice.
Yes, Fitness Girl is asking, who coined the name Bigfoot?
Oh, right. Okay, so the name Bigfoot happened whenever in the 1960s, or it might have actually been the 1950s, right around that, within that span of 10 years. About 10 years before the great Patterson-Gimlin video, there were people that were doing logging and putting in roads in Northern California that came across very large tracks. So the name Bigfoot stuck, and that's named completely over the tracks that were being found. Now, what's so interesting, Fitness Girl, is that her name?
Yes.
Okay, and I would like to see a picture of Fitness Girl too, so feel free to share. But yeah, so the idea of these tracks being found is what gave Bigfoot its moniker. But before that, they were talking about the wild man or the ape. It all had different names until media took over, and now it's so part of the imagination that we cannot think of anything other than Bigfoot, simply because that was a newspaper headline that seemed fitting, and it kind of, matched this creature, and we've had it with us ever since. So that is probably, we're looking at, 60 years old. It's not a very old name whatsoever, only about 60 years old. And the name Sasquatch goes back a little bit further, but not that far back either, because that's actually a bastardization of several Native American words. So if you want to find words that are intact, we have to look at like the Woodwose that dates back to the Middle Ages, or if you look at Oceania, places like I just lost my train of thought. Whenever we look at the Orang Pendek, that's a name that goes back, even farther than that. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We have to look at the way names are, define a creature, because the name can actually define the creature in the popular imagination, and that's all that we think about. But like whenever we talk about the Orang Pendek, which has the same root as the orangutan, which means, the wild man of the forest, then we start thinking of these indigenous cultures have seen these things out there for thousands of years. It's part of their culture. It's part of their religion. And that's really the most telling part about all this kind of stuff. Whenever these creatures are so interconnected that it becomes part of their language and part of their religion as well.
All right. We've got about 3 minutes here, Guru. I got a couple questions I want to try and get in here, so got to be quick on this. Gary the Spudger is asking, have you heard any accounts of governments catching and releasing Bigfoot or Dogman?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a case here in Western Pennsylvania where a Bigfoot was seen at a junkyard of all places. And some kids stopped in their car, watched it, moving around the auto parts, the abandoned cars and everything. And the next day, government officials, the so-called men in black, show up, ask them what they saw, and then ask them to reconsider what they saw. So obviously there's some sort of government knowledge of these things. We also have to understand too is there's a very famous map put out by the Army, the United States Army, about animals that exist in California, and one of those creatures happened to be the Sasquatch. So I do believe firmly that the government knows about these things and has been on the radar for quite some time.
All right. Star A is asking, maybe it's Star A, I'm not sure, but it's a capital A. Does the moon have any effect on these portal activations, in your opinion?
Oh, that's a great question. I'll tell you, if you look at Wiccan traditions, the idea of calling down the moon, the idea of full moon ceremonies, and this is whenever your magical items are charged. Hey, it's very, very possible when we talk about portals, we are talking about a conjunction with certain types of moon phases as well, too. Something I would love to look into as well, too. But yes, I would like to investigate that even further as well.
Oh, that's awesome, man. We got about 2 minutes to go here before we got to go to break. The crypto guru, Ronald Murphy. Let's see if we can squeeze in one more question here. Nikki is asking, do you believe Sasquatch and other cryptids use a super high frequency to move around, appear and disappear, and open and close the portals?
Well, I think that when we talk about infrasound, and again, we're talking about a biological aspect here, a lot of animals in the world use infrasound, lions and tigers and whales and, certain types of reptiles. I think that when we talk about the idea of using certain types of frequencies to manipulate the world around us is something that is part of the territorialism of a lot of terrestrial and aquatic animals. Now, to take that a step further and say that they are able to manipulate the world around them to the point that they can somehow adjust or change their surroundings, that's a completely different conjecture, but something to think about. Look, I am open-minded about all this kind of stuff, and I think that's an extreme possibility.
All right. Let's get to Kira's question because she's looking lovely and talented tonight. She says, as we got about 45 seconds, Guru, have you ever heard that red or orange orbs frequently accompany Sasquatch energies?
I have indeed. And if you would look in the world of ghost hunters, a lot of people suggest that whenever you see these colored orbs, that we're dealing with Native American energies. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, Dave, but that's one of the theories that are out there, that if you see these types of orbs, almost always are associated with outside areas, natural areas, that these are somehow dealing with Native American spirits. If that is the case, that might be the tie-in that we're looking for, because these Sasquatch, these Bigfoots, have such a connection in the world of Native American culture and religion.
All right, when we come back, Guru, I want to get into dinosaurs with you. There's a lot of people out there, from Makili Mbembe to sea monsters to pterodactyls.
Yep.
We got to get into this, Guru. Are they still running around? Crypto Guru Ronald Murphy continues on Spaced Out Radio, heading into Hour 3 next.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind, from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefoot?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Appreciate you all tuning us on in. Thank you so much, especially if you're listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and on the digital side on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What is it here, Clam? Oh, there it is. I don't know. Erythrophobia. Erythrophobia is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce the crypto guru, Ronald Murphy. Yes, he is here, lighting it up for us here, and we love him for it. You could find all of his books on Amazon, Ronald L. Murphy Jr., as well as any major bookstore in the United States. Guru, what a pleasure to have you here again.
And the time flew by. You know, we talk about this idea of the space-time continuum, and every time we get together, we prove that indeed is the case. That time can be manipulated because this 2.5 hours just flies by.
That is very true. Very true. The guru with sage words once again. Guru, there's a lot of people who claim to see dinosaurs. You know, whether it's pterodactyls flying in the sky, little raptors running around the forests of certain parts of the United States. We have Mokele Mbembe, who is supposed to be in the rivers of African Congo, I believe. We have sea monsters in lakes all across North America and the world, from Loch Ness to Ogopogo in British Columbia. What's your take on dinosaurs still around?
Okay, well, this is going to be like the Thunderbird, except it's a little bit more difficult than the Thunderbird because we're talking about an animal that existed up to about maybe, 2 or 3 million years ago as compared to 65 million years ago. So that's going to be a problem first off. Okay, now we're talking about a remnant population of prehistoric animals surviving into the historical period. Okay, now I do have to point out that Carl Sagan stated that in his demon haunted world, that the possibility of a dinosaur existing into historical times could be the impetus for the reason why dragons were so prevalent in medieval heraldry. It's a possibility, that this kind of stuff can happen. But now we're talking about, are they still around today? People in Texas see raptor type animals all the time. With the advent of Jurassic Park, this is something that people want to see. But I think that when we look at it even further, a lot of places in Texas are raising things like ostriches and emus. And whenever these things get out, people aren't going to think that they're seeing an ostrich because it's part of the media and part of our culture. They're immediately going to think that they see a velociraptor taking off. I think that's one of the cases. There's places in Texas that have a lot of sightings of pterodactyls, not so much the talk about Thunderbirds, but these kind of scaly, leathery covered winged creatures that are seen flying around. A lot of people see these as well too. And then we go to the lakes. I wrote a book called On Aquatic Monsters of the Great Lakes that are investigating so many sightings. And a lot of these sightings, especially in Lake Erie, seems to, suggest a plesiosaur or something along, a long-necked prehistoric, creature. But these are all very difficult things to rationalize, because the Great Lakes are only about 14,000 years old. They began at the end of the last ice age. Is it possible that animals from the open ocean got swept in? Most certainly that could have happened. We know that up in Lake Champlain that there is the fossil of a whale on the shores there. So we do know that, ocean life did come into the lakes. But it's still a little bit more difficult. Now, when we get into the idea of open oceans, that's a completely different story. One of the old chestnuts that we go to all the time is the coelacanth. This is something that was in the fossil record, predates the dinosaur. It's a very ancient species of animal, and they are known now to be off the coast of South Africa. So if something like the coelacanth exists, could the megalodon exist? Or could, a seagoing reptile like a mosasaur exist? It's extremely possible. We know more about the surface of the moon than we do know about the oceans. And we have to understand, too, that not only is the ocean deep, but it also has a lot of volume. It has a lot of different climes in which to inhabit. So the environment is extremely changeable. There's a lot of places to hide. There's a lot of places to go to. So when we talk about these creatures, possibility of these creatures existing, and not only things that are so sensationalized, like a plesiosaur or a mosasaur, but even things like giant turtles that people have witnessed as well. Because we have to understand that, during the age of dinosaurs, there were, turtles that grew to be the size of a car. So the idea that these things are still in the open oceans is very intriguing to me. And I think that if we are going to find a remnant population of something, a holdover from Jurassic times or Cretaceous times, it's going to be in our open oceans.
Do you believe then that, let's take the pterodactyl. Pterodactyl has been seen, or the ropin has been seen flying along the coastlines from California, or from Baja California right up to Alaska. It has been seen in Texas and in the Gulf of Mexico, all the way over to places like the Philippines and the eastern part of Asia. So do you believe that this creature is flying out there? Because you would think a bird that, let's say it's 12 to 16 feet, maybe 20 feet, you would think there would be more sightings of something like that, Ron.
You would. Now, one of the intriguing things about the ropin is the way that they are invariably identified. It's this kind of reptile, this flying reptile that has this great long tail and this kind of diamond-shaped, appendage at the end. And we know from the fossil record that the Rhamphorhynchus matches this perfectly. So whatever people are seeing is matching something that is known to be in the fossil record. So we talk about, less civilized cultures in places like the Philippines. It's hard to speculate that they're able to come up with something that, is known in the fossil record. Okay, that's one thing. But again, if these are flesh and blood animals that are occupying our space for a lifespan, then they would be seen much more readily than just a rare sighting here and there. They have to eat, they have to breed, they have to do other little pterodactyl things, and it would make them seen, And they also have to die, which means that you would be able to find them, if somebody was looking. So again, we talk about the idea of interdimensionality, or the idea of these portals. It makes more sense to me, even though it seems, highly unlikely, that they're using portals to come in from one period to another. That seems like sci-fi speculation, but what else are you going to do? Not every one of these people that are reporting a ropin is lying. Not everyone that is reporting these creatures are misidentifying something. So even if one report out of 100 is a genuine report, well, what the hell are we supposed to do with that? Something is causing these people to see this. and it matches something that did indeed exist at one time in Earth's ancient past.
Okay, but what's the chances of it being here today? All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big thing. There's people like, I know there's researchers who believe in Mokele Mbembe. Alex Mistretta, who comes on this show quite a bit, he has researched this over in Africa. He believes that there is something to this. And I'm just curious, I mean, here's a dinosaur. There has to be a breeding population. It can't just be one or two creatures. I mean, this is something that you'd probably need. What's the average? I'm not a scientist by this in any range, but probably at least at minimum 40 to 50 creatures in order to breed.
Well, see, that's the thing. If you look at the great ape population, you need at least 800 individuals to allow enough genetic diversity that there's not going to be mutations, So, but now we're talking about reptiles. But reptiles are very unique because under certain situations, you don't need to have a boy reptile for reproduction to happen. There are, like, for instance, the Komodo dragon are capable of impregnating themselves if there's not enough males around. That's one of these really strange things in the reptile world and in the amphibian world, that they can indeed have spontaneous pregnancies. They could have these kind of virgin type of births. So we know that can happen. But again, like you had said, there's not just one of these creatures out there reproducing with itself. It would require much more, because what's going to happen after a generation is there's going to be so many genetic mutations that it's not going to be a viable species anymore. So it's hard to imagine, with all the climatic changes that has went on in the earth, that a reptile, now remember, these aren't dinosaurs, these are reptiles, these are flying reptiles, probably cold-blooded, that they would have to adjust to the constant changing world around them. And that just doesn't make logical sense. So I think the idea that there's a dinosaur someplace hidden in America is very hard to come by. Now, with the Mokele Mbembe in the Congo, look, my good friend Jonathan Downs with the Center for Fortean Zoology over there in England, he's a firm believer in the Mokele Mbembe. But it looks to me, if you investigate very deeply into the native lore, that you're talking about, the hippopotamus, that this is a personification or almost a deification of something that's known in the world around them. And then it takes, the Western kind of philosophy to come in and superimpose that on what they want to believe is out there. But we have to have a breeding population, except under very unique circumstances. So the idea that there's dinosaurs out there, or at least reptiles out there doing this, doesn't make any sense to me either, Dave. I have to agree with you.
Is it imagination, or is it, once again, people maybe stepping in and out of these timelines?
It's very possible. I think a lot of it's wishful thinking. I think a lot of this stuff came about whenever the coelacanth was encountered, and there's that idea that there's a possibility out there. There's a hope that this kind of stuff can happen. Look, the idea of timelines or time shifts, or I think that can be just as plausible when we're talking about these things, again, because we're talking about the world of the paranormal. We're talking about things that are outside of our scientific, comprehensions. That's what makes it paranormal. So I think that we have to look at all aspects to come to a conclusion or come up to some sort of educated supposition about what's going on. But so a time slip is as good as stating that there's a remnant population of ropens that still exist in America to this very day. Both are just as equal in validity, in my opinion.
But these raptors, dude, these little miniature raptors, 2-3 foot raptors. I mean, why are we not seeing people get attacked by these things? Because they always run in packs. I mean, this is where I want to believe this, okay? I want to believe there's something Jurassic about what we're doing. There's a plethora of stories out there that just make this so much fun to believe in. Okay,
right,
or
right,
that somebody,
exactly, yep.
some mad scientist has been playing with some DNA in some wacky laboratory, buried deep into the ground somewhere. All right, but I mean, you would see these little raptor things running around and killing animals and chasing down people because, let's face it, they don't have a heart. Well, they do, but you know what I'm saying. There's no soul there.
Right.
They don't care. They're just going to kill everything.
Yeah. Right. Look, you again. This is the salient point in this whole thing. Bald eagles are taking house cats and dogs all the time. They're very opportunistic. If there were little raptors running around, they would be attacking children in the yard playing. I mean, this would happen all the time. So there is something to be said about that because, again, if we're dealing with a flesh and blood animal, we have to deal with something that follows flesh and blood rules. It follows a behavior of some kind. So absolutely, my friend. But look, people are seeing this. About 30 years ago, right outside of Pittsburgh, there was supposedly some kids that were playing, and this little bipedal reptile came out of a storm drain, and they chased it with rocks and sticks and everything. Look, people are still seeing these things. Is it a misidentification? If it is, what the hell are they misidentifying it with? What are they seeing? Or is it, somebody's wild imagination? I don't know. But I know that even, in Western Pennsylvania, people are still seeing these little things running around. But again, like you had said, if this is a raptor, this is indeed some sort of, Dionysus type of creature. They follow a very certain pattern. We know they hunt in packs, and a child at the playground would be fair game to these things. So let us assume that these things are indeed not out there, because if they were, we would be seeing signs of their predation all over the place.
So can we rule this one out?
We're going to rule this one out. We're going to rule this one out as well as the Thunderbird. Unless there is some sort of time shift going on, then we are going to rule out the possibility of a flesh and blood raptor in 21st century America.
All right. Well, I mean, is there any... if there was a dinosaur out there then that you think exists... Okay, outside of the ocean. Let's skip the ocean because I still think there's megalodon out there somewhere.
Oh, I do too. I agree. Yes.
Okay, but if you think there's a dinosaur anywhere, where do you think it is and what is it?
Okay, if there would be a dinosaur... Well, we have to understand there are dinosaurs out there nowadays, and we see them all the time, and they're birds. We do know that a certain theropod dinosaur throughout years and years of evolution, starting, with the Archaeopteryx in China, did develop into what we know the modern day bird. So if you want to look at a dinosaur, go out there, pick up a chicken sometime. Their feet are still very scaled. They still have that kind of, predatory aspect if you ever see these kind of birds hunt. So we are looking at birds. So we're talking about something that stayed evolutionary stasis, that did not change. See, that is a problem as well too, Dave, because we're talking about something that did not undergo evolution for 65 million years. And in order for something to do that, they have to be in an environment that will allow them not to do that. That's the reason why the coelacanth didn't change, because it was in a stable oceanic environment. So if we're not talking about the oceans, or we're not talking about deep water lakes, it's very hard for me to say that there's a possibility of a dinosaur out there, simply because it would evolve to match the changing environment. So whatever it was to start with would be, completely opposite, or completely so drastically changed that we would not identify it as a dinosaur anymore. Yeah, see?
Nikki,
that's a bit of a conundrum there.
Nikki wants to know, as we got about 4 minutes left, what about the gigantic flying bird seen in Alaska?
Right. See, that again, we're talking about the idea of scale. We do know that the California condor exists. And the idea that there might be a remnant population of these certain type of condors in very remote areas makes sense to me. We're not talking about something that's fabulous. We're not talking about having to resurrect an ancient Pleistocene creature in order to make for what this is. We don't have to pretend it's something that's extinct. It could simply be something that we know, but it's misidentified and we have no scale to compare it to. They absolutely think people are seeing weird things all the time. The Black Forest region of Pennsylvania, people are seeing large birds all the time. I was at a dam site whenever I was a kid in my area of western Pennsylvania, and I saw two gigantic birds that I knew were black vultures, but if I didn't know any better, I would have thought they were Thunderbirds. People see a lot of strange things, but just because they're strange to that person doesn't necessarily mean that it's a completely new species of animal.
Oh, you're breaking hearts now. There's not much woo in that, my friend. Not much woo in that.
Well, we will woo whenever it comes to things like fairies and werewolves and vampires. But when we're talking about the possibility of dinosaurs still existing in their preserved state from 65 million years ago, it doesn't make a lick of scientific sense.
I know. You're just breaking hearts at the end of the show, man.
I know.
Breaking hearts here.
I hate to do this to you guys, but look, we are on Spaced Out Radio. We're here to provide good, honest answers, aren't we? We're not taking advantage of anybody out there, Dave. We're just telling us the way it is.
Very true. Very true. No, I fully get you there, and it's unfortunate, but hey, Guru, we got 2 minutes left with you. 2 minutes.
How is that possible? I cannot believe that. Look, I love all of you guys out there, the people that are in the chat rooms, the people that are listening. It's really my honor to be involved. And as we said before, my career is, so highly connected with Spaced Out Radio that I am forever indebted to you guys. I just hope that the people up there in Michigan are able to get something together so you and I are able to be in the same room at the same time for finally, after 5 years of friendship, that we can sit down and actually talk and drink a Ron Murphy together. That would be fantastic.
That would be great. We got to do it.
we got to do it, my friend. We got to do it. Yeah.
Guru, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Let everybody know where they can get your books.
All right, you can get my books on Amazon.com, Ronald L. Murphy Jr. You can contact me directly. You can go to Ronald L. Murphy Jr. at yahoo.com. That is my personal email. If you want to talk to me, if you want to tell me that there are dinosaurs out there, I will gladly talk and listen to absolutely anybody. If you want personalized copies of my books, you can do it that way. I'm on social media, Ronald L. Murphy Jr. on Facebook. The Crypto Guru on Twitter. And so look, I'm all over the place. So you can get in touch with me any place, but Amazon, that's how everybody orders anything. So you can find all my goodies on Amazon.com.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you once again, Guru, for coming on in and educating us. And we'll have to sit down and look at your schedule and see when we get you back on.
I'm looking forward. You're a true friend, my Dave, and I look forward to being on your show, and, thanks to all the listeners out there. I had a fantastic day.
Anytime, Guru. We much appreciate it. And do me a favor, buddy. Always make sure you never eat breakfast for dinner.
Hey, we already had this discussion. Nobody does that. No sane person does that.
I agree with you, buddy. I agree with you all too much. All right, everyone. Hey, stay tuned, because coming up next, after we say goodnight to the Guru here, we got the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. More Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night, where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey Spaced Out Radio fans, it's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month, and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us. Now, I remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. On Twitter, we're at Spaced Out Radio, and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Hey, speaking of the news. Oh, yeah, it's that time. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes a good fisherman's tale. Now, you know, one of the last times I was in Port Alberni, British Columbia, it was back in, let's rewind time, 20 years. 20 years already. Holy cow. Yeah, I guess it was that long. Anyways, I fought a hockey coach behind the bench. I came off my bench as a coach. He went off his bench as a coach. I undid my tie, and we actually started throwing punches right in the stands. Yeah, how's that for good small-town hockey? Anyways, but this time, a commercial fisherman knew he was staring at a fish that was quite out of place near Vancouver Island's west coast when he spotted in his net a barracuda, which is way north from its Southern California habitat. Yeah, Tyler Vogrig said he had seen the long silvery body of the muscular fish with giant teeth before in Hawaii. Vogrig said he and his father Brian were catching sockeye at Alberni Inlet, been there, as part of their stock assessment for Fisheries and Oceans Canada when they hauled in the barracuda. We couldn't believe it. The fish was docile because it had been chasing some seals, and one of the seals actually nipped it on its tail, so it got a little gash. The duo placed the weak predatory fish in a tank to recover for about 30 minutes and contacted Fisheries and Oceans. They snapped some photos of the fish, which they believed to weigh about 5 kilograms, before erasing it. Now, they have quite a tale to tell about an adventure earlier this month aboard their purse seiner, the Nita Maria. It's just really cool. There's just no chance I'll ever forget that, Vogrig said. His father, who's been fishing for 40 years and has never seen a barracuda in British Columbia waters, Jackie King, a research scientist with the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, said the presence of Pacific barracuda in British Columbia waters are rare, but we have had some recorded in our commercial fisheries as far back as 1987, then huge gaps between where they're reappearing again. King said, adding that the barracuda was spotted in British Columbia in 2016 and 2019. The fish are normally found in the Baja California area of Mexico, bordering the state of California, but they have also been seen as far north as Washington state, likely due to warmer waters at home. It's even more evidence of the impacts of climate change on our marine ecosystems. Here's a weird one from BC. Mounties say they have had reports of 2 lemons full of sewing needles found tied to bushes along a trail in Port Coquitlam. The first lemon was found on June 22nd tied with twine to a branch in Gates Park, and a complaint was made to the city. Police say the second lemon was found July 14th on a trail near the Coquitlam River. That discovery was reported in an email to Community Police Station, which was closed, and by the time the police received the email, the evidence had been thrown away and an investigation was impossible. Photos of the lemons show that they were cut in half, skewered with long sewing needles. Each was tied to tree limbs. Weird. RCMP Corporal Michael McLaughlin, hey, I worked with him. Yeah, that's where he moved. Yeah, he used to work in radio with me before he became a Mountie. Says one theory is that the person who left the lemons had no intention of hurting anyone, but it's hard to be sure until someone steps forward to explain. Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? Good to read your report. Anyhow, that's old Mick. Anyways, A new material called Proteus is billed as just 15% the density of steel, but completely resistant to being cut. That means cyclists around the world may be blessed with truly inviolable locks for the first time ever. People who want to steal the outdoor furniture from restaurant patios will now have to cut the furniture instead of the cable lock. More importantly, TV writers will have to work even harder to make it seem easy to get into a locked electrical storage or nuclear facility. Researchers in Germany and the UK have teamed up to make a material they say uses harmony and vibration to thwart any attempts to cut it. Our architecture derives its extreme hardness from the local resonance between the embedded ceramics in a flexible cellular matrix and the attacking tool, which produces the high-frequency vibrations at the interface. Well, this sounds kind of cool. Inspired by naturally occurring examples like grapefruit skin and the mother-of-pearl lining and shells, the researchers embedded tiny spheres of alumina ceramic between a layer of aluminum foam at the core and a layer of steel alloy on the outside. The process is tricky. Firstly, the aluminum powder is mixed with titanium dihydride, utilizing a rotating impeller to ensure a uniform mixture. After the mixing stage, the powder goes consolidated into a compressor and then extruded, results in dense rods of material which are cut into smaller pieces. Hold on, I thought this stuff wasn't cuttable. Anyways, probably not at this stage. Next, ceramic spheres, compressed aluminum. Yeah, we got to wait 15 to 20 minutes baking for 760 degrees. No word if it's also coming with blueberry muffins or anything like that. But the main thing is, this product is cool. Because, you know what? I'm one of those guys who had his bike stolen as a kid. And it sucks. There's nothing sucks more than getting your bike stolen at school. You know what I'm saying? It sucks. So hopefully this helps because, a lot of people lose their stuff every year due to bike thieves and all that. It's time to get rid of them. All right, let's move on. Man walks into a bar and right into an electric fence. It's not a joke, but rather the novel measure taken by one Cornish pub in the UK to enforce social distancing rules to stop the spread of COVID-19. The landlord of the Star Inn in the village of St. Just, southwest England, has installed an electric fence in front of the bar to make sure that social distancing guidelines are followed. If I had put a little rope, then I don't think anybody would have taken this much attention as they have to the electric fence, the pub landlord, Johnny McFadden, said. Oh, that's a good bar name owner, eh? A bar owner name, I guess. Johnny McFadden? Oh, that's a dude who's definitely owning a bar. Pubs in England were allowed to reopen July 4th, but must implement social distancing measures. That includes minimizing staff contact with customers and reducing the time pub goers spend at the bar. McFadden said the rules represent a big culture change for his pub. I run a very small bar. Everybody is accustomed to sitting at the bar, pushing at the bar. They can't do that now. Things have changed. Although the fence is not turned on, McFadden said the same logic which works in the nearby farms on rural Cornwall works for local drinkers too. As long as there's a warning sign on an electrical fence and you are warned about it, it is totally legal. And there's the fear factor. It works. People are like sheep, he says. Sheep keep away. People keep away. Elon Musk's brain-hacking startup Neuralink is gearing up for a long-awaited reveal on August 28th. Musk himself can't seem to help himself from teasing the brain-computer interface. Sunday afternoon, when computer scientist Austin Howard asked Musk on Twitter if we could one day listen to music directly through such an interface, streaming it directly into the brain, in other words, no headphones needed, Musk replied with a curt yes. We still know very little about what Neuralink has been working on. Our best look so far came in a 2019 presentation in which the company showed off a device that hooks up to the brain via holes in the skull cut by lasers. Early iterations of such a device are largely aimed at repairing broken neural connections in those suffering from brain disorders, including Parkinson's, Musk said. it's still entirely unclear if Neuralink's brain-computer interfaces will ever be able to bypass the ear, the cochlear nerves, and beam music magically into the auditory brain, but Musk has already set his sights on bigger things. When asked by another Twitter user if Neuralink's devices could also help stimulate the release of oxytocin, serotonin, and other chemicals when needed, Musk also replied, yes. Now, while some high-tech headphones have promised to beam music straight into your brain, they achieve this by sending vibrations to the skull, not stimulating neurons inside. To make that feature more a reality, Neuralink is looking to add more, brain to its operation. So, if you've solved hard problems with phones, wearables, sealing, signal processing, inducive charging, power management, you can apply to Neuralink. Musk wants your resume. How about that? Job interview, right there. I don't get this one. We got to put an end to the Guinness Book of World Records, okay? Let's just shut it down. Because people are just getting stupid. Stupid. There's nothing impressive about this next story, okay? Nothing impressive. So here's what happened. A Minnesota man took his love of water skiing to new heights when he went out on a lake wearing 11-foot stilts. Now, it's impressive because you need some balance for this. You do. It would have been more impressive if he actually used just one water ski instead of two. So, there he is. Chris Dens, 30 years old, said he was inspired to attempt the feat after seeing a local video of Glenn Sperry water skiing on 8-foot stilts. So Sperry, who holds the current record after skiing on 10.5-foot stilts, corresponded with him and offered up some tips when he set out for the record. Yeah, here we go. Old Den said he started on 3.5-footers and then worked his way up to 6.5-foot stilts before attempting his run at 11-foot stilts. Den shared the video of his failed attempts before he managed a successful 11 feet over the water. The skier, a founding member of the Brainerd Ski Loons water ski snow show team, said he is planning to make stilt skiing a part of next summer's shows. He says evidence is being submitted to the Guinness World Records for official recognition. Yep. All about him. All about him. Dumb. You got to be on cocaine to be doing this next one. Why? Police in Italy say they searched a package addressed to a fictional mafia boss and discovered it contained 4.5 ounces of cocaine hidden inside hollowed out coffee beans. You got to be on coke in order to do that and concentrate on that. Yeah. So the police from Italy said customs officers checked the contents of the package after they noticed it was addressed to Santino D'Antonio, a fictional organized crime boss from the movie John Wick Chapter 2. Investigators discovered the package contained more than 500 coffee beans that had been hollowed out, filled with cocaine, and reassembled with a dark brown tape. Police said a 50-year-old woman who attempted to claim the package at the tobacco shop in Florence was arrested. Who has the time to cut open individual coffee beans to store cocaine? I don't know if that's stupid or impressive. I really don't. I'm anti-drugs, okay? As you all know, I lost my nephew to fentanyl. I don't like the whole drug thing. But some of these ideas that these drug people, I don't even know what they're called, bad lingo there, come up with, it's impressive. It's good imagination. Too bad she got busted. Well, not really. Probably deserves it. An Idaho man. Oh, here's another one. Oh, Captain. Guinness World Records again. Come on. Do we really need this in our world? Shaking my head. An Idaho man broke a Guinness World Record when he threw 19 chopsticks in 1 minute, sticking them on the center region of an archery target. Really? We need this in life, people. We need this in life. All right. Yeah, David Rush, proud American, broke more than 150 Guinness World Records so far in his life to promote STEM education. Said he initially thought the record sounded easy since it called for the use of a 31.5-inch archery target. So Rush said it became more daunting when he realized the rules required his chopsticks to hit and stay in the 12.5-inch diameter inner circle of the target. The attempt ended with 19 chopsticks qualifying. Really? Beating the previous record of 14. Rush said he nearly had 20, but one of the chopsticks fell out of the target before the 60-second time limit had expired. Does this not make anybody else mad? Or is it just me? Speaking of records, finally tonight, a 1965 Ford Mustang Shelby GT350R, the first prototype of line of competition cars and the first to win a race, set a new record by selling for $3.85 million. Meckham Auctions in Indianapolis said the Mustang was once driven by Ken Miles, who was played by Christian Bale in 2019 film Ford vs. Ferrari, fetched a high bid of $3.5 million, with a total price coming to $3.85 million with fees and taxes. The sum made it the most expensive Mustang ever sold, breaking a record set in January when the 1968 Mustang featured in the Steve McQueen film Bullet sold for $3.74 million. The winning bidder of the GT350R, commonly known as the Flying Mustang, was not identified. It was previously owned by collector John Atzbach, who had the vehicle fully restored. I hate Guinness Book of World Records. Drive me nuts. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What is it here? What's your thoughts on cryptid creatures being able to travel through dimensions? Start off with one of our favorite veterans around here, Marty, lovely clown. This one dedicated to the Guru. Says, I love Derry, and the Guru is from Derry, Pennsylvania. It depends on the cryptid. Bigfoot almost certainly can travel through dimensions, as can Thunderbirds, but lake monsters and sea creatures can just hide themselves in the vast depths of the ocean. Solid, Marty. Solid. Thank you for serving, by the way. It's been suggested or believed that by some that there is a spiritual nature to these creatures, says Canadian Joe. If so, then it's entirely possible they could do this. Spookles the cat, we love her around here. They should stop tearing open portals and letting the mosquitoes in, because there is no way those bugs should exist here. I agree. Joe, are they wearing a mask? Powerful, Joe. Powerful. Oh, that's nice. Juan, if they can do that, there will be an energy signature. Actual research shows focus on detecting that signature. Anything else is storytelling and enabling. Ronnie believes that they do. Quinoa, definitely. We live in a strange universe where anything and everything is possible. Jules, she's got beautiful hair, by the way. Entirely possible. When I saw mine, the area geographically would not have been optimal for such a large being to hide. It is possible, but not probable. Also, shortly after daylight UFO sighting with humanoid beings, even the Bible says we always are being observed. Multiverses? Twitter is too short. Okay, well, let's go over to Facebook then. We can do this. Sir Ken. Are we talking about going from one three-dimensional realm to another three-dimensional realm, such as ours, or to a four-dimensional realm being projected to 3 dimensions? I just wanted to know if cryptid creatures could jump through. That's all I wanted. Brian Bowden, 1,400 podcasts under his belt. Does them every week. They can, so they do. Powerful words there by B. Bowden. Kelly, it's possible. Don't throw anything out until you can prove definitively that it's not possible. Preston, if cryptids are able to travel through dimensions, don't you think they would make mistakes every now and again and show up in places that cryptids don't belong? You never hear a Bigfoot sighting in a people's living rooms, do you? Sylvia, only back to where they came from. What do you think about Dogman being sent here to bring Bigfoot back home? Never heard that one. Alex Mistretta never wears a t-shirt, by the way. Never. Don't know why. It's weird. Well, at least the idea keeps people that refuse to learn biology are incapable of understanding evolutionary biology and too scared to go on real expeditions in business on YouTube and podcast. Ouch. Ouch. Mark, I believe that for sure, especially Bigfoot. Devin, well, if we can do it, I imagine other beings have similar potential or more. Nikki, with that, or with what I've been learning this year, dimensional travel is definitely possible for Sasquatch and cryptid shapeshifters, but any others? Not a clue. Russell, when there are cases where Bigfoot is shot at, it disappears into a ball of light and footprints are found that dead end into nowhere, leaving behind a puddle of silicon carbide. Yep, interdimensional. Daryl, proof is in the pudding. Look at Skinwalker Ranch and Stardust Ranch. Final word goes to Kevin. Yes, as long as their documents are in order. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Day. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Thank you to Captain Shirk for a highly entertaining SOR Newswire, and to the Guru for talking monsters tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody participating in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, Spreaker, the Space Travelers Club at our website, Revolution Radio, LGAB, Facebook, and all the snarkers and snarkettes at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. The Woo Train is parked for the night, but guess what? Tomorrow, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night.